They're Afghanistan's backbone, its teachers, doctors and business owners. What are the challenges facing this struggling country's middle class? And what are their concerns and hopes for the future? This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm David Foster. Welcome to this special edition of Inside Story. Afghanistan's middle class caught between the very rich and the very poor. Nurses, teachers, people who run businesses, doctors who earn 20 times as much as translators as they do in medicine. Why do they stay? How do they survive? What do they look for in their lives? Lucy Ashton reports.
A familiar scene in Kabul. The poor hunting for a living. But for those lucky few who have a car, there is a nearby escape. But this simple weekend getaway might as well be on another continent for most Afghans.
Most of the people are working just for a governmental organization. Their salary is just about $50 per month. How we can support, how we can come here, how we can to see just to go to entertainment. He is not able at least to support his family.
But one skill is in demand. For those who speak a European language, opportunities seem to be everywhere.
I studied English, but after that I joined with the US Army. I worked in the Paktia and Paktika province.
An Afghan doctor earns $60 a month. An interpreter for a foreign organization such as NATO earns about 20 times that.
I have $1,200 in 1 month, my pay. If I spend all of in the city center, I don't have a lot of money to spend my family.
This is City Centre Mall, the flashiest place in town. The affluent come here to shop. A little reminder of where many of them grew up, the West. They returned after the fall of the Taliban. However, most Afghans cannot afford to shop here. Back at the lake, talk turns to the future and how long the Western forces and NGOs will stay.
The United Nations and the international community leave Afghanistan. We will not have any room in Afghanistan, especially the ones who work for the ISAF forces, for the NATO and US Army. So we would not be able to stay in this country. We have to leave.
And if this class of educated, progressive Afghans leaves again, it would be another critical blow to a country so desperately trying to rebuild after generations of war. Lucy Ashton, Inside Story, Kabul.
With us now are three guests. That's Obedullah Obaid, who's Chancellor of the Kabul University's Medical Unit. Ahmed Mokhtar Joyan used to teach in the state system, now teaches English to diplomats at the British University. And Hasina Shahjan, who runs her own business as well as running some schools here. And I'm going to describe, Hasina, your business as it makes cushion covers, placemats. It's all to do with the home, but I'm sure it's much more than that. Give us an idea what you do.
Yes, Boomi is a company that I established 2 years ago, and we're using cotton made in Afghanistan. We're the only company that use cotton made in Afghanistan still, because we used to produce a beautiful cotton, almost a heavy, nice Egyptian cotton, like where people used here for their own wear all the time. But unfortunately, all the companies were destroyed during the wars, and now there's only one factory that's still producing cotton, and it's in north of Afghanistan in Pulakhombi area.
What kind of opportunities can you offer to those people who work for you? I mean, I think there's more than 40 now, and you're hoping for over 150.
Yes, we're hiring another 150 people, and hopefully soon, I mean, there's enough space to hire over 500 people, but some of them will be working with us for a long term, and the goal is to, in fact, divide a percentage of the profit of the company and to give them a share in the company. And then some of them who are talented and wants to have their own businesses, we're helping them to create their own businesses.
Ahmed Mokhtar Joyan, you were a teacher in the state system. You left. Was it purely because there wasn't enough money there?
There was no enough salary to improve their lives. As you know, the education ministry in a country is as the heart in a body, that the teachers are like blood that can save alive the body. So the teachers are in the schools are, as I have been teacher for 10 years, the teachers are struggling with their life in the schools.
How much would you have got paid if you'd stayed in the state sector?
Teachers are get just $70 a month.
And how much can you earn doing the job you're doing now, teaching
Yeah,
British
just
diplomats?
when I got the other job in British Embassy, just I can earn a month $400.
Abdullah Obaid, you've taught countless medical students. Some have left Afghanistan to go and work elsewhere, but a great many of those that have stayed here have had to take jobs outside medicine. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, because in previous times, unfortunately, there was no any plan between Ministry of Higher Education, between Ministry of Public Health and Ministry of Plan. So there was no plan, and they accepted a lot of people as medical students. And when they graduated from the medical school, so Ministry of Public Health, they haven't seats for them.
There were no jobs?
Yeah. And some of them, they went in other fields, and some of them now work with some NGOs, some organization as a translator, and also in management of some office and other place.
This way they can earn 20 times what they would do as a doctor working in a hospital. Is there any way the medical profession can get them back?
If the situation became normal and the salary get increased, so maybe some of them, they come back.
Hasina Shahjan, let me turn to the type of people who are now setting up businesses here in Afghanistan. Do you see the majority of them wanting to invest in the infrastructure to create businesses such as your own? Or do you see many people who've come here realizing that there's an opportunity to make money quickly and then perhaps leave?
Are we talking about returnees, Afghan expats who've come back? I'd like to make a comment, if you don't mind, about what was said about doctors and teachers, the same problems. Doctors, I have to say that many doctors have their own practices in Afghanistan as well. They all have their own clinics after their formal job in the hospitals, and that's where they actually make money to live. Of course, you know, doctors never in Afghanistan made as much money as the doctors do in the States. And teachers, because we've had school programs here in Afghanistan for the past 4 years, we're paying our own teachers a little bit more. Our teachers are also working with the Ministry of Education half of the time, and they work with us for half of the time. But we haven't had this experience that the teachers would want to do something else. They're extremely committed to teach. You know, they're willing to teach for free. Our school in Wardak was rocketed this year, last May, and we had to close it and still closed. We're still working to reopen it. But last week, my principal came back and said, you know, the teachers really want to teach, and they don't really want a salary. All they need is for you to rent a house for them so that the students can come back, and they're willing to teach for free. And they taught for free for the 7 years of the Taliban as well.
Do you think the majority of people who are starting businesses, and you say there are quite a few here now, are doing it because they have long-term investment plans for Afghanistan and the country's future, or for themselves because they see an opportunity to make quick money?
Well, there are two types of people who've come back, you know. There are those who have come back and to really help Afghanistan to rebuild the country, and to really, because they have a commitment to the country and they feel that it's part of their responsibility to come back and work for the country. So, and then there are some people who have come back and possibly selling their homes and their properties and take the money in because of whatever reason they have. You know, maybe they have kids abroad and wives, and they don't really want to come back because they don't want to bring their kids in this environment right now. But many of those who are establishing factories next to us or in the industrial parks that are establishing right now, they are making really huge investments. So I assume that they're here to work. Of course, they want to make money, business, but they're also committed to stay, because I don't see why would they be building these huge factories if they're thinking about leaving.
Ahmed, if it turned to you and your present situation, what would it take for you to go back to teaching children as opposed to teaching diplomats privately, when they have the money and the children need the opportunity?
It is clear that everyone wants to serve his people. But in my point of view, whenever a person cannot do something to himself, what can he do to others? It means whenever a person can pay a rent of his house and cannot live easily in society, how can he teach in a school? Whenever our teacher right now in the school, they are physically in the class, but they are spiritually out of the class, and they are thinking about the rent of their house, they're about the children, they have sick member of a family in the family, and how they can go back to school. They are seeking for a job that they can improve their life easily. And unfortunately in Afghanistan, the schools are increasing to a bad situation. They are going back to a situation that cannot be solved. The main cause of this problem is by our government, because a minister which comes for a ministry, at first he's thinking about reconstruction of his own building. Also the president of Afghanistan, at the beginning of every year, he gives more promises to the students, to the teachers, and after that he goes back to his palace, he forgets everything. And the teachers, when they promised by good salary, with facilities in their life, they can go back to schools, they can serve their people.
But may I ask you a particular question, Abdullah Abeid? You decided to stay here when other members of your family left Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Why was that?
If I had left, the door of microbiology department would have closed. And also in the Kabul Medical University, I'm professor of microbiology and teacher of microbiology department. The time I have remember, the members of that department were about 12 teachers. 11 of teachers, they immigrated from this country, and they went to outside of this country. But beside of salary, beside of other things, I think teachers, they have responsibility against their people, against their students, against their country. So in this case, I stayed here and I did my job, and now I'm happy.
Did you regret staying?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for now. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, we'll be looking at what our guests think about the future, what needs to be done here in Afghanistan. You're watching Inside Story.